So what's going on with Minecraft? It seems like it's been a long time since there's been some proper excitement coming from the community. The last time that I can remember some near unanimous praise for the game was around the announcement of Caves and Cliffs, but after it was delayed and had its initial concept split into what feels like 5 different updates, the sentiment has just started declining again. Chances are, if you are a more mature person who consumes content from others at about the same age range, you've seen dozens of memes poking fun at Mojang and showing how people can supposedly make better game updates over the course of one weekend. Then naturally you have the whole slew of, Minecraft is bad actually, or old Minecraft was better videos, which have been thoroughly taking advantage of the game having re-solidified itself in the online content space. Though, in contrast, the number of those who keep to the infamous 2-week phase of interest and then drop the game until something new comes around to ephemerally draw them back in, there are many who enjoy it regularly, even still clanging onto the block game as an all-time favorite, and I want to talk about the difference. Looking at it as a target audience problem, it seems like there's a good reason why the negatively vocal groups on the internet aren't being catered to. Mostly, Minecraft is a game for people who build. With a little more detail, looking at Notch's original background and inspirations while developing it as a passion project, it is a game designed for nerdy people who have a desire to base build or engineer systems in a context that is flavored with a twinge of fantasy. Though that fantasy itself, being the monsters, the resource management, the elements of survival, are all challenges and flavorings to make the process deeper, so that the end result of building cool stuff lands as a more impactful achievement. And if you don't believe me, let's look at what Jeb has to say via his published game design rules that Mojang employees have to follow. Minecraft is a simple and limitless adventure game where players are encouraged to engineer and tinker with the game mechanics. Yet again, we see that programming and system building piece. Even the adventure section of the development guidebook has distinct rules for the sandbox, stating that exploration should not just exist for its own sake, rather rewards that people find should unlock new functionality, either cosmetically, or in a deep or maybe unexpected way, ranging from as mundane as drip leaves and their implication for parkour courses, or slimes and sticky pistons. Then it could be as exciting as End or Ancient Cities and what they have to offer. The endless nature of the world isn't just for people to complete quests and grow their avatar's power in. It's there to mostly validate players who develop deep and long-term interests and have a desire to see their world as their canvas. Ultimately, what sets Minecraft apart from other open-world games, and what has undoubtedly provided its fame and longevity, is that it is specifically for people who want to create at heart. In my last video in the series, I explained that my love for the game had a huge resurgence, turning from something that I only occasionally revisited in nostalgia-seeking stints into the game that I play almost every day. The main reason is that I settled into a long-term world with a building project that consistently makes me excited, and to achieve this goal, I started to get comfortable with contraptions that help me exploit the game mechanics. This is basically a meme at this point. But the exact timeline aside, I think that the reason why a lot of people play the game in short stints is because of the rapid-fire progression and the feeling that people can achieve all of what the game has to offer in a very brief window. You can probably get full diamond gear in a day or less, likely netherite in another day or a few if you don't get bored of the strip mining, all while some friend throws down a functional base with a village or trading hall in the meantime, and soon you can be done with the Ender Dragon and the Wither if you're really carrying momentum. And then what next? I remember having this exact conversation with someone back in middle school. I was yammering on about the game, I'm sure, and he goes, "Bro, how do you even still play Minecraft? It's so boring now." And of course young me was very offended, and it led to a minor argument, with his reasoning being basically exactly what I just covered, to which I responded something to the effect of, "Well, don't you want to build new stuff, or make your base look better at least?" Since, well, I knew that he basically played out of utilitarian cobblestone boxes. And then when he told me that he wasn't interested in doing that, well, there wasn't much more to talk about. Overall, looking at the past updates, it seems like rather than trying to make sweeping changes in order to make Minecraft as much of a progression-based open-world adventure game as it could be to appeal to this type of player, they fully leaned back into the sandbox elements which provided the initial DNA. I imagine because they realized that there are already plenty of games which emulate what some people want Minecraft to be, so better instead to remain one of a kind. Throughout so many updates past, seeing people comment, "Well, this only benefits builders, bruh," or the like time and time again, the pattern becomes apparent. And ultimately, when a new update comes out offering 1. A new explorable environment with an augmented hazard set, 2. A pair of complete block sets, and 3. A new interactable mechanic with a high impact for tinkering, multiplayer, and build cosmetics, and your reaction is frustration rather than at least interest, you unfortunately might not be who Mojang has in mind when they picture somebody who actively loves or wants to love their game. But I think that most everyone can agree that Tiny Takeover is pretty mid. Look, there are definitely times where I get bored of Minecraft too. In the past, when I would maybe get sick of the game's limited item and boss progression, or its demanding exploration, or otherwise didn't have the motivation to carry out goals for a build that I had in my head, I would just play something else. Be it Terraria when I was young, Breath of the Wild and its sequel as a teen, and Elden Ring as an adult, as all in some way, shape, or form scratch a specific itch that Minecraft can make flare up. And some were directly inspired by it too. So why complain instead of just stepping away until you're ready to come back? Well, I guess it's because it's Minecraft, dude. It's hard to find a living young person in the Western world who didn't at least play it on their mom's phone growing up. Much like Club Penguin or Roblox, this was an environment that parents were happy to support, where kids cemented themselves in internet culture and learned digital literacy through, and people have a hard time letting that go. It also especially doesn't help when this is the best-selling game of all time, with massive funding, and the fact that it seems to be resting on its laurels a little bit generates a lot of negative attention. Though, personally, I find it hard to be worried. While it often seems like Minecraft is made of overly simplistic or half-baked ideas, they are almost never released in their final state. If villages are slated to get their 3rd round of rework soon, and the cave generation continues to get improved, and so on and so forth, then those heavily awaited end or combat updates are probably on the way too. Then everybody can come back for another 2-week phase to try all the new stuff and find something else to complain about at the end of it all, I'm sure. Minecarts probably. They're definitely overdue for a tweak and a half, I will admit. Now that I have tricked you all into watching a Minecraft Let's Play again, let's talk about the gameplay in the background. I'm currently working on my first mega base, which is inspired by the roguelike tower mode from Minecraft Dungeons, where every floor will be themed off of different biomes and stuffed with contraptions, villagers, and all the things one needs in just a very over-the-top and vertically challenging package. After completing the first 3 floors, I'm starting to get very sick of doing all this building without the convenience of shulker boxes and elytra, especially as things get taller, so killing the Ender Dragon is the next project. Though before that expedition is launched, I want to go ahead and get everyone fully enchanted netherite sets just for the satisfaction of having done so. I'm trying to kill as many birds with one stone as I can here by choosing to embed this next floor underneath what I have built so far. First, all the cobblestone that is getting excavated can just be fed into my brick maker to generate more than enough building material to give me some very decent headway. Choosing to make it darker themed means that I get to mine lots of netherrack for blocks, finding ancient debris in the process, and building it underground means that I can better conceal a mob farm so that XP will not be a problem when enchanting and repairing all this gear. I wanted this floor, which is basically the basement of the whole thing, to be generally other dimension themed with elements of the nether and ancient cities integrated, so making the mob grinder skulk oriented was the best way to achieve yet another 2 purposes at once. I will admit that this is the first mob grinder that I have built ever, in fact, so it's definitely not as efficient as it could be. I always avoided them as a kid out of some sort of principle, I guess, which definitely held my fun back. Anyway, there was a lot of trial and error making it work. I at first tried having mobs land on dripstone, but they stopped items from falling into hoppers. I then tried having observers trigger a water flow to push items off of the dripstone and into a collection area, but that seemed just overly complex to make feasible. I then had really good results just using campfires as the kill object, which still allowed items to be collected, though they blocked the skulk catalyst somehow, so I ended up instead using a lava kill chamber. With all that done, I began building an imposing pillar field to make this area feel like it is truly holding up such a monumental structure. I copied the schematic of the columns seen in the ancient city, just changed their texturing up with some nether bricks. This is also when I started stealing some skulk from my mob farm to spread throughout the certain confines of the floor, which I decided should be deep dark themed, leaving the borders, which would be the nether flavor, untouched. This area overall ended up being a bit of a struggle, and took me a really long time, both from the amount of nether brick and deep slate needed, as well as having sort of a complicated pillar layout, with their spacing meaning that I couldn't have arches more symmetrically throughout the pattern without them overlapping. It's hard to explain. Though this ended up becoming a huge benefit later, with these voids in between the pillars being a great space for upside down warped fungi, and some housing for the magical workstations and villagers. As I was placing bookshelves in these more functional areas, I was reminded of some old Minecraft animations and maps where this block was used very often in some nonsensical ways, and I probably intend to throw more of them around the rest of this floor in places that they shouldn't be, cementing a very strange and arcane vibe, as if magic is holding up the whole tower. I also plan on utilizing sulfur and cinnabar for the remaining roof details once the update drops. It will be a very colorful floor with a lot going on. Very much, well, like a bookshelf block. One of the more satisfying things was to get the villagers in here. While I definitely let them run rampant up on the 3rd floor and have many primed to be taken up to higher floors, I didn't feel like going through the trouble of figuring out a way to boat or happy gas them down into the basement, so I just kept an eye out for stray zombie villagers as I worked, which were eventually yoinked into their future homes and converted. And well, hallelujah, mending at a discount, and a use for all the rotten flesh that my mob farm generates. One of the last things to make was a nether wart farm. I built a haphazard one earlier just to get my numbers up, but looking at the scale and detail of the rest of the build, it's pretty underwhelming, and definitely is giving afterthought. So keeping to the theme of borrowing structures into the space, I recreated corridors from the Nether Fortress instead. Yes, I have a doorway and staircase leading to nowhere, well, mainly because I don't have anything to connect them to. Perhaps this will eventually be elaborated on. I will probably try to make some sort of diamond farm beneath everything eventually, so this could very well lead deeper in time. All in all, a lot of good progress that I had a great time putting together. I also hope I didn't offend anybody. Thanks for sticking to the end and seeing what I got going on. Much more to come later. Have a good one and see you next time.